Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Wheel of Revolutions 2024 fourth installment. If you're a returning member coming back to view again, thank you so much for your support these past few months on this project. I really appreciate it. If you're someone new and this is your first time seeing one of these, welcome. I'm Aaron Stormrimber, and these are the rituals on the Wheel of Revolutions. The Wheel of Revolutions is my personal project. It is my interpretation of a cycle of yearly celebrations tied to the cycle of the seasons, as well as certain topics that I feel are very relevant to life these days and to myself. There are currently 9, or as I like to say, 8+1 rituals in the cycle. And we are going to go through all of them this year. Today's celebration is called the Day of Flames. And the meditation that we're going to be doing as part of the Day of Flames is called the Rite of the Serpent. Now, the Day of Flames follows in the footsteps of the previous celebration, which was the Day of the River, or the Rite of Tributaries. During that meditation, we explored the way that life flows from top to bottom, back and forth between all living things. Today, what we're going to be exploring is the precariousness of life. We're going to be celebrating life as it exists, forever on the edge of oblivion, on the edge of death. And this may seem a bit of a dark topic, especially considering all that's wrong with the world lately, but I consider it something that's very important to not just be aware of, but also in a way to celebrate. Because there's no getting around it, you know? We exist in a constantly precarious situation. Life is precious. Life is everything. But there are certain things that happen both in the world around us and explicitly to us that can change the way that we see life, and in particular how we view our own lives for the worse. There are things that can make us depressed, that can make us feel hopeless, that can make us feel like our petty contributions to the cycle of life and death are meaningless, that will never do anything right, that will never make an impact. I could say that there's nothing further from the truth. My opinion on life is that life's very existence, whether it performs in the way that we often think that we should perform or not, is in itself inexorably important. And that is the theme of our meditation today. This meditation takes the form of a mock combat, where you, as the meditator, as the ritual participant, is going to face down the embodiment of what I like to call the empty dark, the nothing. You can think of this serpent as a serpent Apophis from Egyptian myth. You can think of it as just a thought form, a personal demon, an embodiment of all of the things that you yourself dislike about yourself, all of the hopelessness that you feel, the hopelessness that we all feel. And as part of this meditation, your job is to subvert that hopelessness that the serpent tries to give you. And on that note, before we begin, let me just put out a small warning. As part of this meditation, I, as a speaker, am going to be taking on the role of the mouthpiece of this wicked serpent, this embodiment of nothing. As the anathema to life itself, the serpent's job is to convince the meditator that their life is worthless, and in that role, there will be some things that I say that it is your job to refute. As a combatant, you must refute what the serpent says to you. You must refute the hopelessness. Now, I understand that I am not alone in struggling with depression over the course of my life. Many of you have probably been in very similar states. Some of you have probably seen worse states than I personally have. Like me, you may have struggled with ideation at one point or another. If you are not in the right headspace to participate in this kind of trial, mental or otherwise, there is no shame in that. Missing this meditation will not throw you off your game for the rest of the rituals that we're going to be doing this year. So, with that on the table, if you need to bow out, go ahead and do it here. Nobody's going to judge you for it. However, if you are ready to begin this, I would like to ask you now to go ahead and set up your space as you like it. Get comfortable. Turn off the lights if that helps you focus. If you don't like my choice of music, put on your own. Anything that you can do to minimize the amount of distractions in your space, and to make yourself comfortable enough that you can shake off those aches and pains, those clinging, distressing feelings from the day. It doesn't have to be perfect. There are things that we cannot always ignore, and that is perfectly fine. All I ask is that you do your best, and your best will be good enough. Now, if you would like to keep with the theme of fire as the representation of life that gives this celebration its name, you might want to go ahead and find a candle or a small focus of light, such as a small lamp in an otherwise dark room, to use as a focus. Although your eyes will be closed for this, you can focus on this point of light in your space as you imagine your own inner fire. Go ahead and get comfortable, and once you have, unpause the video, and we will begin. With your eyes closed, I want you to imagine a cavern. Whether you stand or sit or lay on the dirt floor, imagine that you are currently in the mouth of a dark, cold cavern. Listen to the way that the wind echoes off the cavern walls, the strange sounds that come from deeper within. The light behind you now from the cavern's entrance. You are here to take part in a sacred trial. Trial that we all face many, many times throughout the course of our lives. In front of you, there is a fire pit. The embers are cold. The fire has gone out. Before you descend, you must light the fire. Don't worry about your skill at this. Don't worry about your lack of tools. You are the fire. And so wherever you go, the fire follows. Take up a torch lying on the ground. Place it within the fire pit as you hold one hand. The other sits upon the embers. Grant that fire pit a piece of your own inner light. Your warmth, your empathy, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. All of these things that make you you are your cosmic fire. Your fire fills the otherwise empty dark. Together with the lights of billions, you create light where there was none. You create sound where there was none. You create motion where there was none. Like all living things, your nature is to constantly change, constant motion, constant adaptation. As all things live and die and live again, their bits, their embers recycled over and over again. You are the universe replenishing itself. You are the vehicle by which the universe thinks, by which it feels, by which it can know itself, as are all living things. As your torch lights, become acquainted with your own fire. You feel this fire every day that you live, though sometimes not as strongly as others. When we lose hope in ourselves, when we believe that we are nothing, our sense of our fire dims. Though the fire is still there, we may not sense it, and we may start to believe that we truly are nothing. This is the serpent's trick. The serpent is the empty dark. The serpent is stagnation, the cessation of life, the end of all consciousness, the end of all motion, the quiet. Here, in the world of the living, we sometimes say that there is peace and quiet. But there can be no peace in the serpent's quiet. For in the serpent's quiet, there would be no consciousness left to perceive it. Peace is something that can only exist in a conscious mind. Without it, there is simply nothing. No peace. No closure. No sanctuary. Just the empty dark. You have faced your dark before, and you have come out of it every time. Today is no different. Feel yourself within the confines of your mind, taking a step or rolling along, whatever form of locomotion feels natural to you, towards the dark. Carry your fire. Do not be afraid. You are a warrior. And today, you will remind the serpent that it has not yet won, and if we have anything to say of it, it never will. Our fire will continue to burn as we cycle forever through death and rebirth and death and rebirth, like a fire constantly relit. We fill the darkness. We fill the empty quiet with the sounds of living. Do not worry for the condition of your body. This is a battle of wills. You need not have the strength to raise a sword, the dexterity to fire a bow. You need not be particularly witty, particularly skilled in any discipline. Just the fact that you are alive is enough. Now, as you approach the edge, where the cavern drops off into that hungry darkness, steel yourself and, warrior, go forward into the nothing. Be prepared. The serpent will lie to you, but you are stronger than these lies. Here, in the empty darkness, the spirit of the great serpent sees your challenge. Though your eyes may not see it, though your skin may not feel it, it rises from where it sits in between the fabric of the world, coiled inside each and every one of our hearts, striking when we lose our belief in ourselves. The serpent says, "Just what do you think you're doing? Every time you come here, you say the same things, yet you don't truly believe them, do you? Otherwise, you wouldn't continue to return again and again, seeking the dark. Deep down, you know the truth of yourself. That you are nothing. A tiny speck of dust floating in an endless dance of just as many particles. The cosmic equivalent of the dust bunnies under someone's bed. The serpent says, no matter how hard you try, your actions are meaningless. You will never make a difference. Not in your world, certainly not in the cosmos. In 100 years, there'll be nothing left of you or of anything that you've done. A drop in a pool. No one will remember you. And no one will remember them either. The serpent says, in the end, the darkness comes for all of us. As it approaches you, your light reveals the serpent's face. Reveals your own face, looking back at you from the dark. The reflection of every hopeless thought. Every day spent crying, raging, unable or unwilling to believe that any of this could possibly be worth it. It reflects back every moment where you have almost given yourself over to that empty dark. Every knife edge, every bottle, every edge of a cliff or a concrete rooftop, every time you've thought of it, perhaps even every time you've done it. The serpent's face sneers at you from the darkness. It says, why fight? Wouldn't you rather be nothing than to be in pain? Why do you come here, warrior? Why do you try again and again? When we both know all that you want is to be gone. As all living things once were, before that great accident brought together those first cells that spread like a disease into ever more obnoxious, ever more persistent forms of life, all fighting the same hopeless battle against an emptiness that they will never defeat. as the serpent sneers, remind yourself, what got you out of those dark days? What made you put down that blade? What made you step away from the edge? What made you pick up the phone and call your friends and family? Look to the torch in your hand. That torch is you. Remember what I said at the beginning? The serpent cannot take you unless you let it, because the serpent is powerless. All it is nothing, and you are everything. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be anything except for here, alive. Lunge out with that torch and see how the serpent recoils. Your mere existence is anathema to everything that it is. As long as even one of us exists, the empty dark can't. That's quiet, this emptiness. It is false. It cannot exist, because you do. And true peace, true belonging, these things can only be felt by the living. This is why we fight. Ever on the edge of death, we nonetheless fight to live even one more second. Because life is everything. Mold your fire into a weapon. Anything you desire. And strike. Again, and again, and again. At this foul beast that would lie to you, that would tell you that you are nothing. Every motion that you make, every cut through the serpent's form reminds you, you may be a mote of dust, you may be a drop in the water, but even a drop can make waves. Every motion perpetuates motion. Every action creates a reaction. No life exists, however small, that leaves no echo. Your echo fills the dark. Your sound fills the quiet. Your existence is a fire that burns away the emptiness, that shatters the quiet. We do not let the dark emptiness take the world. Instead, we perpetuate the motion of life. Whether this is through combat whether this is through diplomacy, whether this is through arts and crafts, or just sharing a nice conversation with someone that we love. Every action that we take, however small, whether anyone perceives us doing it or not, makes a difference, fills the dark, creates reactions that echo through the whole of the cosmos, from the smallest mote of dust to the great abyssal ocean between the stars and whatever lies beyond it. And you, warrior, for facing your darkness, for defeating your own inner serpent, for refusing to hear its lies. You are precious. Hear the serpent as it hisses in defeat inside the cavern. And beyond it, listen as that little coiled wretch that sits beneath your own heart recoils as you confront it. Tell it, I am not nothing. Know this truth of yourself, and know that you can do it again and again and again. Know that each time the serpent rears its ugly head, that you have the strength to overcome it. You need not hold a sword. You need not hold any extra power. Just being alive is enough. Continue to fill the dark, and it cannot exist. It cannot win. Feel the way the darkness changes as the serpent descends back. How the wind changes. How the echoes change, no longer sounding ominous, but more of the quiet whistling of wind and stone. Feel how you yourself have changed. For now confronting this darkness, you have pushed out the pieces of yourself that were consumed by hopelessness. Slowly, return yourself through the empty cavern to the edge from which you stepped. You have won. This is not the end. This torch you carry, you will carry for all your life, until the day that you too are recycled and you begin to burn anew. This flame is your charge. Carry it proudly, so that when you encounter another who cannot feel their light, who cannot feel the warmth of their own fire, due to the pain, that the serpent has wrought on them. They will see you, and they will see hope. There will be some that you cannot reach. This is the simple nature of things. If not you, hope that another can. Carry the light regardless, and know that even if you cannot perceive it, your willingness to fight against the empty dark makes waves for those who are trying to find that strength to push back against their own endings. And remember the next time you hear those ugly whispers, you are enough. You will always be enough. And there are others who are ready to burn alongside you and push back that quiet and keep the world whole. Return to the bonfire that now sits at the mouth of the cave. And once again, put yourself in a position of rest. You've done well. Next year, when you repeat this cycle, you will do so stronger. And on each time. Teach others in the meantime. As we focus on the sounds of the wind through the cave, place the torch back down into the bonfire. Let that fire that is yours come to sit instead within your chest where it belongs. Relax your form. Breathe deeply. It may not have been easy, but you're still here. And I'm proud of you for that. Take as much time as you need to decompress and feel whatever feelings this trial has brought up in you. When you're ready, open your eyes. Breathe in deep and out. And settle yourself back into your daily life. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this short little journey. I hope that you found what you were looking for. And I hope that you'll join me again next time as we continue the Wheel of Revolutions. Each of these rituals is very special to me. This project is many years in the making. And I hope that we can take these lessons that we're learning here, bring them forward into our daily lives, and start making real, positive changes, not just for ourselves, but for all of the people and places that our ripples affect. as I learn more and refine my way of teaching, I hope that you'll come along with me and we can teach each other. Until then, thank you so much. I'll see you again next time.